This monster sweeps across the earth relying on its incredible hearing. Its outer ears are armored with tough skin, making them impervious to human weapons. Its middle ear is composed of 10,000 tiny bones, while the inner ear is even more astonishing. 1 million neurons connect directly to its brain. It can detect every sound within a staggering 6.2-mile radius, picking up every little movement. With no eyes, it visualizes its world using sound. And it's naturally brutal, feeding on humans and animals. After it lands on Earth, it wipes out 90% of humanity in just a few months, killing over 6 billion people. The survivors live in fear, barely daring to make any noise. Sneezing or even a fart could be a death sentence. Lee and his family of 5 are holed up in the suburbs. From his observations, there are only 3 monsters nearby. He sends out a distress signal on the radio every day, but always left feeling hopeless. One day, they finally run out of food, forcing Lee to take his family to the nearby town to grab some supplies. In the future world, humans must walk barefoot and make no noise, or their lives are at risk. To stay silent, Lee's family walks on the fine white sand he spreads on the ground. At the supermarket, Bo, the youngest son, wants to play with a toy spaceship, but Lee fears it might make noise, refuses to let him have it. However, his sister Reagan feels sorry for him and secretly gives him the toy. Unbeknownst to them, Bo takes batteries, not realizing that 2 small batteries could cost him his life. On the way home, as they cross an iron bridge, a sudden sound from the toy spaceship fills the air. Lee panics and turns around, only to see Bo playing with it. He sprints towards him at full speed, but they spot a dark figure rushing from the forest. Lee's wife is too terrified to look. Lee races against the monster, but in that moment he loses Bo. Afterward, the family grows distant. Reagan feels guilty for giving Bo the toy. Even though Lee never scolds her, she senses his love for her has faded, especially since none of the hearing aids he gave her work properly. In this future world, monsters control everything, and making any noise means death. Evelyn is pregnant and due to give birth soon. One day, Lee takes his eldest son Marcus fishing. They come across a strange old man, while his wife lies next to him, presumably killed by the monsters. As the old man's emotions boil over, Lee makes a shh gesture, but the old man suddenly shouts. Lee quickly grabs Marcus and hides behind a tree. Within 3 seconds, the monster arrives, and the old man becomes its next victim. At the riverbank, Lee encourages Marcus to yell and let off steam, but Marcus hesitates. The sound of the water and waterfall can mask their voices, so finally, he lets it out. Meanwhile, back home, Lee asks Reagan to take care of Evelyn. Reagan feels upset. Her hearing aid is broken and she feels left out of the fishing trip. In frustration, she sneaks away to visit Bo's grave. Suddenly, chaos erupts at home. Evelyn doubles over, gripped by intense pain in her belly. Making a sound would attract the monsters, but Evelyn is about to give birth. She carefully navigates the stairs with her heavy belly, enduring the pain of contractions and the agony of stepping on a nail, reaching her limit. Despite the pain, she turns on the emergency alert light. Suddenly, the monsters arrive, and Evelyn finds herself trapped downstairs. In a moment of desperation, she grabs a small alarm clock and sets up a simple escape trap. From a distance, Lee sees the red lights flashing from their home and knows something terrible has happened. He and Marcus sprint back. Inside, the monster uses its large ears to scan the house. Just then, the alarm clock goes off and the monster rushes toward the sound. Seizing the opportunity, Evelyn heads upstairs but freezes when she spots another monster waiting outside. She's trapped. Panicking, she hides in the bathtub as her contractions intensify, and she begins to bleed. If she can't hold off the birth, it could cost them both their lives. Meanwhile, Lee instructs Marcus to set off fireworks in the distance to draw the monster away. Marcus takes off to carry out the task. The monster is drawn to the sound and approaches from behind. In unbearable pain, Evelyn can't hold back any longer and screams, sealing her fate. Just then, Marcus's fireworks burst in the sky, masking her cry. Regan sees the fireworks and rushes home. When Lee returns, he finds a pool of blood and fears the worst for Evelyn. Suddenly, a hand reaches out. It's Evelyn hiding in the bathroom, and the baby is safely born. They quickly move to the basement of the warehouse. Lee places the baby in a box with an oxygen mask, securing it tightly before heading out to find Marcus. On his way, Marcus encounters a monster and panics, running away. The monster chases him, and Marcus crashes into a tire, knocking himself out. Reagan also comes across a monster, but her broken hearing aid emits a loud noise, causing the creature to flee in pain. Reagan finds Marcus, and they hide in the loft of a barn, starting a small fire while waiting for their father. Meanwhile, Lee steps outside, oblivious to a broken water pipe. Soon, the basement floods, and Evelyn struggles in despair. To make matters worse, the monster can swim, and it's closing in on them. As Evelyn cradles the baby, the monster suddenly appears right in front of them. She bites her tongue to suppress a scream and slowly backs away, carefully moving behind a curtain of water. The monster follows, and they are separated only by a thin stream of water, leaving mother and child hanging by a thread. Meanwhile, at the barn, Marcus accidentally slips and falls into a pile of corn. Even this small noise catches the monster's attention, and it rushes toward the barn. Lee, searching for his children, realizes they must be inside when he sees the monster heading that way. Don't move in the corn, but Marcus thrashes around, sinking deeper. Just as it seems he's about to disappear completely, a board falls down from above. Reagan knows she can't let another brother die and bravely jumps in after him. Once inside, Reagan pushes the board toward Marcus. He grabs it and starts to pull himself up, but she gets pulled under the corn. Marcus quickly crawls over and manages to pull his sister back to safety. However, the danger isn't over yet. The monster is closing in. The monster leaps down directly from the barn. Reagan and Marcus quickly flip the board over, hiding behind it as the creature begins to poke at their makeshift shield. Their lives hang by a thread when Reagan's hearing aid suddenly emits a loud noise. It turns out to be infrasound, which harms the monster. Startled, the monster crashes through the barn and bolts away. Just then, Lee arrives outside and the three are reunited. However, the monster hasn't gone far, and Lee senses the danger. He grabs an axe and tells the kids to hide in the car. As Lee cautiously searches, he's shocked to find the monster lurking above him. He swings the axe, but the creature swats him to the ground, demonstrating its overwhelming strength. Meanwhile, back at home, Evelyn watches the chaos unfold on the monitor. Marcus shouts for his father, and his voice attracts the monster to the car. It begins to shake the vehicle violently. Lee, clutching his wound, slowly rises. Seeing his children in danger ignites a protective instinct. How could he stand by as their father? Let us bear witness to the greatness of a father's love. In a desperate attempt to protect his children, Lee throws away the axe, knowing its clatter will attract the monster. The kids look at their father, their eyes wide with fear. Lee begins to say his final goodbyes. Your father may not be a hero. Maybe he's led a simple life, earning little and facing judgment from others. But when he sees you in danger, no one in the world will rush to your aid like he does. He would sacrifice himself without a second thought. With that, the kids drive home, and the family embraces tightly. Yet the danger isn't over. The monster, lured by the sound of the car, follows them and arrives at their location. They retreat into the basement of the warehouse. Reagan, however, has never been here before because Lee never allowed her to come down. As she explores, Reagan approaches her father's workbench and notices it cluttered with various hearing aids. In that moment, she realizes how hard her father has worked to ensure she could hear the world around her. Overcome with emotion, tears stream down her face as she understands the depth of his love and sacrifices. The rift between them begins to heal. Just then, the monster jumps into the basement like a harbinger of death. Evelyn holds a gun, fully aware that shooting it might have little effect against its tough skin. The creature stretches its ears, becoming more alert, its neural cells on high alert. It smashes a TV as it prowls closer. Just then, Reagan remembers that when she turns on her hearing aid, the monster tends to flee. With determination, Reagan switches on her hearing aid. The infrasound indeed affects the monster. Gritting her teeth through the headache, she cranks the power to maximum. The monster begins to tremble violently, growing agitated. Looking up, Reagan spots a megaphone nearby. She quickly positions the hearing aid into the device, amplifying the infrasound hundreds of times. The monster struggles for a moment before collapsing to the ground. Silence falls. Had they defeated it? But suddenly the monster lashes out one last time. Evelyn instinctively raises her gun and fires, the bullet striking true, ending the creature's life for good. In the surveillance feed, the gunfire attracts even more monsters. But now that they've discovered how to defeat them, the family is determined to fight back. Tonight, they will reclaim their lives. This film is titled A Quiet Place. In the first half, the characters remain completely silent, even during the heart-wrenching moment when Lee's son is taken away without a sound. Yet it still captivates the audience, showcasing the brilliance of the director and screenwriter. Next, we'll dive into the sequel, which is just as fantastic. That's all for today. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. See you next time. Bye-bye.